Welcome back. Today I'm looking at a 1999 Ford E-350 club wagon van. Doing a couple different things with today. I'm going to do a heater core in it. Checking it out yesterday, and it's leaking. Noticed that the antifreeze was low, so did a couple quick checks and found out that the heater core is leaking. So we're going to replace that and show you how to do that today. So the first thing you got to do is basically drain the antifreeze. I'm going to take that radiator cap. This van's been sitting overnight. It's cool, so I don't have to worry about the antifreeze or the coolant being hot in this. Always be aware of that. If it's hot, be very careful. It's under pressure and it can burn you pretty badly. There's a couple different ways you can drain the fluid out of the radiator before you do something like this, like changing the heater core. There's a drain or petcock on this, and a lot of times you can just open that up, but in this case the lower radiator hose is real easy to get to, and I prefer to do the lower radiator hose and just undo the hose and drain it that way. Sometimes these petcocks, especially on older vehicles, they won't seal up right and they cause problems or they crack. So if at all possible, it's easy to get to, I usually will drain it through the lower radiator hose and just undo that from the radiator. So that's what I'm going to do. Okay, so back in there, kind of hard to see, but buried back in there, way back in there, there's two hoses that go into the heater core. I'm going to go around inside and show you what the heater core looks like. Well, we can tell it's leaking, and then we're going to disconnect those two lines and put the new heater core in. So we're up under the dash on the passenger side underneath the glove box. Took the cover off of the heater core. As you can see where that light's shining, that bottom part of it right there is leaking, and in a couple places right in the middle here it's leaking pretty good. I will give Ford one thing. They made a drain on it down there that leaks. When it does leak, it doesn't leak inside, it leaks to outside the car, which is kind of nice. So I'll give them that. So we're gonna disconnect this and pull this one out, put the new one in. So there's no real good way to show you this because there's no way I can get a camera back in there. I'm just going to disconnect these hoses and I'll show it to you when it's done. So there's an oil filler extension. It's just in the way, so I'm going to take that off and get that out of the way so we can get a better shot at those hoses and getting them loose. Okay, about 2 hours later, literally, I'll tell you why in a minute. I got this heater core out. I'm going to try to show you here, see if I can get this on camera. Right here. See if I can do this without spilling it. Right here. Okay. Right here. Right above this line. Right there, you can see where it was leaking. Would have caused the problem, was causing some low antifreeze. We got it out, got the new one, so this is a job that the two hoses that go to to the heater core. In this case, it's a Ford, they call quick connect connector. There's a piece of it, one of them. There's a piece of the other one. I hate these things. These are ridiculous. They're quick connect. They're anything but quick connect. Pushing them together might be quick. Getting them apart, literally 2 hours. If this was just a regular clamp, it's literally 2 minutes to get them apart. This one was actually seized onto the pipe, and I couldn't get the pipe off. I had to break both of these connectors to get them off. It literally took me 2 hours to do it. This is what you run into sometimes when you work on cars. These great engineering ideas to make things easier that make things 100 times harder. So that's why this took 2 hours in a job that should have really literally taken 15 or 20 minutes to actually get it apart and get it out. But it's done. I had to go to the auto parts store, get a couple of these connectors, new ones, and put it back together. So you can see the two hose connections there. One hose is hooked up already, but you see on that top one, you can see that plastic connector, and that's the quick connector retainer for Ford. GM uses them as well, and both of those were kind of stuck. I had to break them to get them off, and unfortunately those connectors are almost as much as the heater core to buy. That connector at the top there is about $25 from the dealer, believe it or not. But we were able to get it apart, get the new one in, and we're just going to hook that hose up and refill the system, coolant in the system. Make sure it's bled out okay and there's no air in the system, and that's done. Okay, we're just going to refill the system now. Put the antifreeze back in. This funnel here, this doesn't have a radiator cap. It's actually filled through the overflow reservoir. But this funnel has a strainer in it, so I'm going to strain it just in case any garbage that might have gotten in the antifreeze draining won't get back into the system. So we filled this back up. We're gonna start this up, put it on max heat, basically all the way up, so it runs through the heater core, and let it give it a chance to purge all the air out of the system, and make sure that we'll top it off to make sure that it's